we kind of overview some stuff, and I think you a little bit interested maybe creating your first simple tree. So we're going to do this. For now, we'll just create a very simple tree. Okay, and we'll just look on some of parameters as we're going. The first one we start, you notice we have it our root and we have it our segment. In some root we have it our general purposes, where we have it geometry position, included scales. We also have it random seed generation that will help you to create a different type of the plants when you start creating how it's generating plants. We have a different type of a plant health, the gravity, and time of the season. Those are a little bit more advanced options, but right now let's just concentrate on creating a very simple tree. So right here we have our segment, and this will be our trunk. I want to leave this up to 10 meters. And normally what I do, I create a general shape, and we can go after in customizations and add maybe some random to our species when we create it. The one thing what important to me is be sure my plant thicker on the bottom and little bit less thicker on top, so we can go and work with inherit rate. So let's open filter, and we'll just take this and bring a little bit down. So you notice how we already changed a little bit shape. You can modify that shape a little bit even more if you want it, by add additional points. And same like filters inside the view, you can double time click or create new key point or destroy it. By default it says with hard angle. We can always go and create a little bit more smoother maybe transition to this, a little bit readjusting. Let's click OK, and right here we have our basic shape. Next, what I want to do is add branches to this. To do this, we'll use another segment. So before we do this, let's go ahead and click and rename it to trunk. As well, we can go ahead and change maybe color to a little bit orange, so we can distinguish. And we'll kind of enable so we can view per component. You don't need to do this necessarily, it just helps us as illustration purpose to see how they will go. So next, we'll create a new segment, and I will call this branch. Okay, we'll go to connect. You'll notice right here by default we have 4 of them creating. To control how many of the branches you have, you actually need to go inside our trunk. We have branch, and you notice we have a number of them. Currently it says 4, so let's take to the 10, and we need to press enter so it's accepted. Okay, next they're going maybe a little bit too low. For these branches I want to start maybe a little bit higher, and right here with a start we can type number, or we can just click and drag, and you can see how it's repositioned. Okay, right now they're all in the same option. What we need to work with orientation and specific with coil. So I'm going to type 75 degrees. You can try different ones, and you notice how they start positioning. So it's give it a little bit randomization. You can try to play with different numbers and see which one fit better for your plant. As well, we can apply coil on a randomness, but not at this time. We'll do this when we start customizing more a little bit. Okay, right here we have our branches. It doesn't look really like branches because it's a stick, so we need to go modify our link. So I'm going to set from to 5. As well, at this point I want to add randomness. Right now it's a 5, but I want some have it shorter or longer, so I will add 2, and you notice how some of them randomly become longer and some shorter. They also for example on this tree, I maybe want to have it on the top not so long, so I'm going to this filter which is from the parent, and says on the top let's make a little bit less taller. Notice how it's trimmed down on top them. And in this case, let's pop up to 6 maybe. Again, this is our primitive we're creating. Okay, other things what I want to do to these branches, I want to add this kind of a little bit bending with the time because heavy, and Profism will all work with this. So I'm going to readjust maybe about 3. You notice how they start kind of nicely bending, look a little bit more as the leaves. And as well, I want a little bit shrink them on the bottom. And we have a 2 shape of where axis and selection. The axis will help us to work with a shape general how it's going. However, sections will help us change section width right here. The one thing when you select it, you kind of need to click inside, so enable highlights, and you notice we have a different type of the sections. Currently 2, we can highlight yellow to select them. You can add more by okay, let me go select again right here. Okay, by clicking on the middle you can add additional sections, or if you highlight them you can click delete and remove them. Right now I'm just going to highlight the side ones. As well, on top we have a red dot. I'm going to shift it. This is actually a very interesting tool because you can always add one more and actually add more points, and you can totally skew and create a very weird shape for the sections. So let's say I want to select this weird shape, so you can see my branches have kind of a little bit weird looking. Okay, but what I want to do, actually, I'm going to delete it because all what I want just create them straight out. Okay, next what I want to do, I want to add additional branches to these branches. So we'll go right click, create another segment, connect it. By default it will be 10 links, so it will be look quite a bit out. So we'll go to modify a link, maybe to 3, and let's add this 1. Okay, next they're all, notice they're all in the same planar kind of view. We need to go inside the branch now. Click on segment and right here in a coil, let's put it maybe 55. So it's kind of start rotating them, you can notice. Okay, sometimes you maybe actually 75 probably will work better, and you can try angles, see which ones will work better. So it start looking kind of not total tree, but a little bit this way. So we'll go to, let's set to the green color so we can preview a little bit better. Okay, on this segment, same thing. So what I want to do, I want to go section, highlight and bring it down. Just a little bit shrinking on the end. And it look almost like a needles kind of poking. Maybe very interesting to create cactus or other one tools. The next we'll start now customizing to make them look a little bit more interesting. So let's go from the trunk, and this is maybe about shape I wanted, positioning with my kind of branches. Okay, so let's go ahead to the trunk, and the next what I want to do, it is in a segment enable a root flare. So you notice right here we start having kind of look like a roots. I will leave it as a default. However, when we look a little bit closer, we'll look closer on all of these properties and see how they will affect the root flare. Okay, next I want to add a little bit flexibility to the trunk, so I'm going inside the influence. I set frequency to 0.5 and pop up just a little bit. So notice it will change slightly shape of our tree. Let's give it a little bit more this randomness frequency in a scale. I want to do same things for our branches. So we'll go inside the branch, we'll go inside the influence, and we'll just pop up this slightly. So notice how they become more naturally now. Twist kind of look very interesting effect. Okay, same I want to do for segments for our smaller branches. But right here influence, actually I want to pop up a little bit even more, because they on the end, and they will look very interesting, kind of twisting now. So right here we start creating our first trees. Okay, as a segment, like take trapezium and increase this a little bit more, so they're kind of bending a little bit more down. Okay, next what I want to do is go to the trunk, materials, and we'll just go and preload it massive material. The one nice thing is this will be applying through all our plants, so from beginning to end. Okay, at this point we can go click and preview. Okay, and you can see this is, we have our tree, kind of dead tree we created very fast. Again, this is as a very basic preview how fast and easy we can create it, some trees with segments. Of course we want to add maybe leaves, and we'll create a little bit more realistic tree in our next tutorials, but overall here's a very fast overview how we add some branches, small connections, and created a very simple tree.